I think what we can do, Michael, is we'll just treat this like an introduction to the SalesBuzz program that iMedia purchased for the use of our team members, right? And I think if you can just kind of give us a, kind of the high level of that, it's this call is being recorded, so I'll actually record it on Google as well, and I think I can do that, and then we'll why is recording not available? You're not allowed to record this video call. I mean, I am recording it with my meeting recorder, but I'm surprised that Google.
It might be because it's recognizing another recording going on. Usually you can record through Google Meeting, but either way.
That might be the case. Okay, well, we are recording. So then what I'll do is I'll send this out to the team and say, hey folks, check this out, because this is just to confirm, it's a 3-month program. We're going to try and get as many of the iMedia sales team members to go through it as possible. And then, perhaps this turns into more later on as an ongoing program for our firm as we bring on new folks and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. If you decide after the 3 months, if they still want to have access to it or you want more, right, it'll just, you can just renew it. And matter of fact, if we do that, I think you get like a bonus 6 months free after that if you do that. But we can talk about that later. If you do another renewal of the first renewal, but we can talk about that later. It's at the end of the day, since we're recording this, we could just jump on in.
Yeah, go for it. I'll give you the time. Thanks for being on.
Yeah. So here's the thing. When it comes to making sales calls, one of the biggest things is that sales teams have anxiety making those calls. And a lot of times it's because there's just too much information out there and like too much advice, too many directions, and they're just not sure, what to say after hello, my name is. So it creates a lot of anxiety. They're afraid of the rejection, things of that nature. So if you give me permission, I'll share my screen. I'll show them the course that's going to help them solve this.
Yeah, you should be able to share.
All right, so I'm going to do that now, and let me pop on over to this. So, all right, so can you guys see the screen right here? My screen? Let's just start there. All right, so for the students, what you can do, you go to salesbuzz.com, you go to login, you're going to hit student. When you log in, you're going to come to this online course. Now, the first thing I want you to see is that here's where the live sales coaching is. Like we just had one this Tuesday, so this will be updated again. You can always go here to see if you need some help. I'll be on live online during these times. Like I said, we're going to update that for the next one come up soon, but you can always go there and check and just log in to see or ask questions or what have you. With that being said, the self-paced course, everything starts in a linear scenario where it's a step-by-step process. If you want to become very successful at selling by phone, which if you're logging into this or you're listening to the first time and you're just meeting me, I've been a straight commission inside sales rep for like 30 years. I've built and sold companies for 7 figures. And all of that stuff has been through when the economy's booming and when it's crashing. I've been through the dot-com bombs. We got 9/11, the dot-com bombs. You have the housing crisis. You have the recent COVID crisis. I've been through all of that. I've also been through the good times. And what saved me in the times that were rough is I went back to basics. I followed a simple, structured sales process that I was able to customize to any vertical that you're selling, and then just follow the process. Inject your own personality, that's fine, but make sure you're touching all the right steps and saying the right things at the right time in the right way, and you can make a lot of money. And that's what this course is going to be. So what you do is you start here, session 1, your new opening value statement. Everything starts with what to say after hello, my name is. So one of the things I want your team to realize is I learned, thankfully, and for them, I learned a long time ago, you don't need 80 hours of training to change behavior, right? So what I've done is I've taken the best of the sales techniques and whittled it down right to the step-by-step process that you have to make. And I broke them up into these short videos. Like this first video, just to kick things off, when you start the training, is going to be a 10-minute video. You can notice that even though I have it on mute right now, what you can notice is that it's not just a video of me speaking and sharing my experiences. I went into a studio. You will hear me speaking on this. It is my voice. I went to a studio for it. But what you're going to also see is we invested heavily into animated videos to paint the pictures of what we want you to see. One, this will keep your attention more. It'll make it a little more entertaining and engaging. And 3, it'll help you retain it better. Once you get to see it visually and hear it, that's what's going to help drive some of these results. And again, since as salespeople, we have the attention span of a goldfish as it is, these classes or these little courses are very short, right to the point, and they give immediate actionable results. So you can watch something for 10 minutes and have a takeaway on it and then put it to practice on the phone right away. When you're done with each video, you're going to have to, for the first time through, you're going to have to pass a quiz. Now, these little mini quizzes, they're usually about 2 questions. They are from a data bank, so not everybody's getting the same questions. And you do have to pass. You have to get 100% on both questions in order to unlock the next video the first time through. And there's going to be a way for, there's a sales manager's dashboard, so your manager will be able to check and see how many attempts it took you to pass the exam. Why do we do that? One, I just don't want you to go through this course. This course, the techniques that are in this course, I'm just really speaking very directly to every sales rep who's going to hear this. Every sales technique that's in here can be adjusted and applied to every industry that's out there. And every one of these steps are ironclad gold steps that you have to cover if you want to increase your chances of making more money in sales. There really is a step-by-step process and techniques that are there to execute each step of the sales process so that you can make more money. And that's what this course is going to show you. And we break it down in these short little learning modules. So you want to make sure that when you take the quiz, you didn't just fast forward through something. First of all, it's not like it's in 45 minutes or an hour. I would get it if it was that long. Sometimes you could fade out. But these are short, quick videos. Take the quiz, pass it, take the next video, right? If you notice in the first lesson, there's going to be 3 videos. So you got a 10-minute one here, an 8-minute one here, and then a 4-minute one here. Plus you have these little quizzes. So within a half hour, you're going to learn in step 1, the first module, the first week. And by the way, I recommend you only do 1 module a week. We can get into that in a minute, but within that first half hour, you're going to learn exactly how to custom create an opening value statement. An opening value statement is what you say after hello, my name is, that will pique interest, not resistance. Most times when salespeople call, they're going to get a lot of resistance. And the majority of that is because of what and how they said what they said after hello, my name is. That's what created the problem. This course is going to show you different formulas, depending on the type of lead, that you can custom create to your vertical, your industry, and then still use a little bit of your own unique personality, but how to wordsmith it so that when you do make that call, you're piquing interest, not resistance. So far, so good, everybody? We good there?
Yep, looks great.
All right,
Makes
perfect.
sense.
All right, when you're done with that lesson 1, you watch the 3 videos, you take the quizzes, you're going to have materials. Now, right here, your 1-page sales call strategy. Print this out. It's made for you to be able to print out. Let me see if I can just blow this up a little bit. In essence, this is what everybody's going to be learning. Okay, you're going to I really break the sales process down into 4 parts. I mean, if you think about baseball, every time you pick up the phone, you're in the batter's box, and your objective, believe it or not, your objective is to get to first base first. Even if you hit a double, you can't run from home plate across the pitcher's mound to second base. You have to touch the bases. And most salespeople skip steps that they don't even realize. And that's what causes, objections to come up. It's what causes longer sales cycles. It's what causes ghosting, things of that nature. Now, there's some of those things you're never going to get rid of, but you can definitely minimize them and increase the level of success and win rates. And to do that, you need a structured game plan. You can't just be a captain wing it anymore, especially when the economy is tough like it is today. When the economy's booming, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit. Great, you can skip steps, still hit quota, high five everybody. You got extra money in your pocket. But when things are tough, you have to follow that. You have to get better at what you're doing and not skip steps, because you can't afford to miss any opportunities. And the best way to do that visually is to look at it this way. You got to get to first base first. And what does that mean? That means you have to pique their interest in the first few seconds of the call, so much to the point where they're willing to go and have a mini conversation with you. That, and course number 1 is going to show you how to do that. The next step in the sales process is actually the largest step in the sales process, and it's qualifying. This is where most people make the biggest mistakes. They make too many assumptions. They make a decision based on somebody's title. Let me ask this, by the way, do you have any sales reps on here?
Ivy's done the most calls on it, but I mean, I do sales as well.
Okay, I just want to say, like, have you ever, I wanted to get some of their feedback. Like, if they ever assume somebody was a decision maker and then they go for a close or they go for the next step and then they hear the objection, like, well, I have to check with so-and-so first. Has that ever happened to the sales floor? It's got to be yes, right? Of course that's happened, yeah? Or
Yeah,
no?
Ivy.
Sorry, yeah.
Yes, that has happened.
So there's little scenarios like that, right? Because you assume that they were a decision maker. So here's the thing: there's gonna when you that creates a problem. Now you have to address, right? Because I thought they were a decision maker. Now they're saying that they have to check with so and so. Here's the thing: when it comes to them being a decision maker, if they say they have to check with somebody else, it's only two things: they're either telling the truth or they're lying. There's no in between. So if you assume somebody's a decision maker and then you go for a close later, or you go to the next step and they said they'd bring somebody else, you don't know if they're telling the truth or they're lying. Now you have to try to handle it. It's creating a problem. Well, this system will, when it comes to like qualifying, one of the examples I'm going to give is during the qualifying phase, you're going to learn to remember to ask qualifying questions based on their role in the decision-making process. We're not going to assume it. And so it's little things like that is going to help you be very successful. Now, one of the other things about qualifying, the very first thing in qualifying is there has to be a problem that your solution solves. Otherwise, there's no need for your presentation, right? So no problem, no presentation. You're going to have to learn how to qualify them on that problem, get them to recognize a problem, get them to admit it's an issue, find out how big of an issue it is, get them to see if they want to commit to solving that sooner rather than later. All these little things that you're going to learn to pepper in these questions while you're naturally building rapport. You're not trying to falsely build rapport. It's just going to happen naturally when you follow this process. And then as you go through it, if you get to the end where, yep, they're fully qualified and it's time to hand it off for a presentation, or if you're a full cycle sales rep, you're going to do the presentation yourself, then, okay, so we got to second base with qualifying. Now we're going to third base. And then once we learn how to handle the presentations properly and set up the close, then we head around third base to home base where we're going to close, handle objections, and close the deal. All of that is included in this course, and that's what you guys are going to be learning on. So this right here with the materials, this gives you an overview of it. I have one printed out. It's on my on the wall in front of me on my desk. The next thing is you're going to have guides like this, where you like your cheat sheets and things of that nature from session 1. You'll also have your customizable word-for-word sales script templates. You can print these out. There's going to be different sales scripts for different scenarios, from warm leads to cold leads. There's my favorite. Here's the competition. There's also, if you have referrals, you print that out. You custom create your own stuff for you. There's also, let me pause that. There's an example. Once you're getting the idea of what to say, then you need to hear how to say it, because some people think it's not what you say, it's how you say it. To me, it's both. It's what you say and how you say it. So the course is going to teach you what to say, and then there's an example of how to say it. The one thing your team is going to love, I say that sarcastically, is their guides to role playing. It is critical. I cannot emphasize this enough. The number one thing to my success was being willing to role play with more experienced sales reps when I was new at this one particular organization. And it forced me to get out of my comfort zone. It forced me to recognize that I wasn't as good as maybe I thought I was, or I had room for improvement. And I had to check my ego at the door and learn to get better. And role playing was the way to do that. So you have to role play the right way. And we have a system broken down that it's very important for your team to follow. This is for the sales managers, but it's good for the individual sales reps to understand what the roles are and how to properly role play. And I assure you, role playing even once a week, you're going to be way ahead of the game. Most companies don't role play anymore. But when I got into sales, late 80s, early 90s, role playing was the rage. But that's also because we were all straight commission. You had to hurry up and get better, because if you didn't sell, you didn't eat. So role playing was one of the best ways to go ahead and sharpen your sales skills once you learn the right things. And I can guarantee you, I actually avoid saying guarantees anything when it comes to sales training or anything in general in sales. I can guarantee you these are all the steps. These are ironclad steps you're going to be learning in this training course. That's going to help you make you better. And then when you start role playing it the right way, you're going to get better faster. Everybody's going to start making more money. with that being said, once that's done, I recommend that you take a week. Once you do session 1, just take a week to put to practice what you've been learning this whole time, and then get really good at it, make your adjustments, fail a couple times, learn from them, get back up, keep going, fine tune it. Now you're getting comfortable, you're getting better results. The next week comes around, okay, now you're going to be like, okay, I'm getting gatekeepers, I'm getting voicemails, what do I do? And that's what you do. You go to week number 2, and then you just keep going that way. If you want to go a little bit faster, if your team is picking it up fast and you want to do 2 modules a week, that's totally fine. I really wouldn't want to do any more than that. I mean, you have 30 years of experience in here of closing, making 7 figures a year sometimes. And with these sales skills, you're not going to be able to master them if you go through them all in a week. So try to just space it out. And if you do that, you're going to do very well. When you get to the end, there is going to be a final exam and certification down here. I believe it's 50 questions. Yep. So you got 50 questions here. It's going to be a combination of all the questions and quizzes you've asked before. You have to get an 80% or higher to pass. And when you pass, there'll be a video to show you how to add your digital certification to your LinkedIn profile if you want, and share it with the team, things of that nature. All right. So with that being said, that's basically the course in a nutshell. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you guys have.
No, that's great. I don't think we have any questions. Any from the team? I don't see any hands raised, but so Susie and Ivy, I think for sure I want, you know, we're paying for this, but we want as many folks in the organization to take this as possible, right? I think we want to open it up to, you know, new folks, interns, because I think it's a great, you know, a great opportunity to do some real professional sales training, which benefits everyone. And when I was trained in other organizations, everyone did sales training, even account managers and others, because they wanted everyone to kind of know the tactics, even if you weren't doing it, you know, as your main job every day. So Ivy, I'd be okay with you doing 2 sessions a day, or 2 sessions a week. And, you know, Susie, for you, you're just kind of looking at it as well. And then what I want maybe both of you to think about are what are the materials that we need to queue up for the team. So when they're ready, because I see all of our strategies in this, but I think the way Michael has outlined it, we want to make it very easy for the people to take the course and then know, oh, here's where I can go to get the iMedia sales team and the iMedia audience's materials, scripts, content, all the stuff that we've already prepared for them, so that they can then digest it and come up with their own tools. And I think that learning experience is going to be really valuable. So I like that aspect of it. And then
Joshua, just to back you up on that, yeah, I have a lot of clients that do what you're suggesting, where like if you have like team leaders, you know, they'll go ahead a little bit, right? And then this way they could plan the next week or 2 out on how to structure it, you know. So yeah, I mean, if you're on the phone, if you're like, you make a living, that's your number 1 job is selling over the phone, sure, you don't want to take too much information on, because you want to be able to put to practice the techniques. But if you're doing it to where you're planning and you're going to be helping the team, then absolutely, you know, feel free to go ahead, you know, a little bit faster. And by the way, once you unlock a course, then it's totally unlocked, you know. So you
review.
Yeah, you can go back and review, but we do it that way because we don't want, the reason why we have it locked step by step to begin with is we don't want somebody to go, I just want to know how to close, so let me jump to the objection handling formula session. But yet the reason why they're getting all these objections is because they missed steps in qualifying, right? So we want to make sure that they learn the process first, and then they could always go back. So that's why we have it that way, just FYI.
I have a question. I tried to log in as a manager and it wouldn't let me log in. So does Josh need to log us? Because I watched your video of how to put people into the course and I just couldn't log in. It said I couldn't log in as a manager. So can I be a manager and a student, or?
So there's, you guys have 1 manager account. I would just use the same username password. If you absolutely need multiple team managers, you know, let me know. I could set that up for you. But it probably might be better if you just log in as 1 person, and then and you can all share that 1 manager login to where you're registering people and check your reports. It might just be easier from a standpoint just to have everything in one central spot. But then you can also, when you're as a manager, when you're logged in, make sure you register yourself as a student, and then you would just log in as a student through the student portal.
Okay, that makes sense because
Yeah.
then everybody can see what everybody can see everybody. So okay, cool. That's all. That's what I just needed to know. Is I just tried to log in from your instructions and it wouldn't let me.
Yep. There's Josh is the main person as a manager set up. So Justin, if you're okay with that, if everybody can just whoever you need to log in the one portal. And again, I do have other companies where they're like, hey, we need extra seats and that, and they want to separate it out, and that's fine. But
once I create my username and account, I can just share that, right?
yeah,
With
for the manager portal.
Ivy.
Yep.
You'll probably
but
just share it with Susie and Ivy, and then we have to physically register all the team members, right? They can't just go to a place and log in. We have to like sign them up, and then they get an email.
That's right. Yeah, they get it an email automatically, and that's why I put in the video that when you're registering a student, I highly recommend that you pick a standard password for everybody the first time, only because they're going to get an email automatically once they're registered of saying, hey, here's your link, log in, change your password, whatever. And to avoid you guys having headaches of sales reps going, hey, I never got that email, right? Because maybe like a spam filter stopped it or what have you. You could always tell them, well, just go to SalesBuzz, go to login student, and then use your email address and then whatever standard password you gave everybody, and they can just log in that way and then change their password and get rolling. That's the main reason why we do it. I'm just trying to save you guys headache from down the road. The other thing too is back in the past, it used to be where you would have to email us like, hey, I got a new student, can you register? And it would go to our training coordinator. Well, this year we found a third-party tool. It does cost us more, but it gives you the dashboard so you have control. You don't have to wait for us, to email us and say, hey, can you register this person? You can just log in 24/7 and do it on your own.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think what we're also going to do, Susie and Ivy, for all iMedia sales team members, those that are, I think we'll do it for interns and iMedia sales team members, support staff if they want to, but we'll also give folks, probably this sweatshirt from the iMedia sales team store, and we'll just give them a code to go in there and buy this sweater at their leisure, right? This sweatshirt, and they can just pick the color they want and send it to their location. So we'll probably push that out there too as an incentive, because we want folks to finish the course and get that done. If they do it in order, it's an 8-week course.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So,
and that's the other thing too. So I used to have it to where they could only do it, 1 week at a time. They would lock it that way. And then we got too many requests saying, hey, we want to go a little bit faster. So, and it's not like I can unlock it. It's like, if I unlock it for one, it unlocks it for all, every single account we have in there. So it's just the way it is. So
sure.
I set it up to where, it's they have to complete a course before they can go through the next one. They can go through, listen, if they drink a bunch of Red Bull, they could do it all in one day. I would set up a schedule with your team, say, these are the expectations, do 1 hour a week, make sure it's complete by this date, and try not to go too fast ahead, because, if they're just doing it just to get through it and be done with it, they're not going to benefit much from it. It really is, let's role play this. And that's the thing, there's a lot of reports out there I would believe are true, that most sales training after a month or so kind of like fades out. And it's not because the material wasn't good. It doesn't matter whose course it is or whose training it is. And this is every industry. It's not just for sales training. But if you're not practicing those techniques in a setting, constantly, then everything's going to fade. It's like, if I only take a guitar lesson once a week, but then I don't practice between this week and next week the scales that I was learning or the picking style, right? As a musician, I'm just speaking that way. Or if I'm playing tennis, I take a tennis lesson, but I don't practice between this lesson and next week's lesson on what I learned, it's not going to be as effective. So I cannot stress enough that if you learn something like week 1, what do we say after hello, my name is? That's a big thing to help get rid of sales call anxiety. And they do that, and now they practice that all week. Once they learn how to create their opening value statement, it's going to get into a routine. It's going to get into a habit. Now it's natural. Now the next week, they learn the voicemails and gatekeepers, and then they can role play an opener, and then they get a gatekeeper, and then it moves to a voicemail. So now they can run all 3 strategies on that role playing call and get really good at it. And then it just keeps going from there. And that's how you build it to where now you have a really well-oiled machine. Yes, they could go through it all in one shot, but it's the role playing that has to be implemented as well.
And I think we've got on our daily huddles, we can do more role playing. We do have a daily huddle for basically 3 times a week that we can do
Nice.
that. So.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you'll be
Thanks, Michael. This is great. So in terms of the value, I know that that's a huge thing. You know, if any individual independent sales rep wants to go out and do this course, I mean, it's you know, has a, you know, it's still pretty affordable, but it's you know, it is a significant value, right? And so what we're offering to our team members is, you know, independent digital marketing reps and members of our team is a pretty significant you know, value relative to what somebody would go and purchase this directly at salesbuzz.com. So I want to emphasize that because it's, you know, it's worth more money in course and future value as folks take it. But, you know, if, you know, just off the shelf, it's also has significant value for them to do that, especially since we're going to throw in a little bit of swag at the end too. So
Perfect. Nice.
thanks again. Really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.